It was a cool, clear Sunday morning as 6 riders headed north out of Baton Rouge on U.S. Highway 61. The official beginning of spring was still a week away, yet for us, it had arrived early. You couldn't have asked for more perfect riding weather as Baton Rouge attorney Rick Nevels led us on one of his favorite day rides, a trip to the infamous South of the Border Club on the Louisiana-Mississippi state line. Joining us were fellow BMW riders Dr. Joe Morgan and Ken Brown. Also along for the adventure was Yamaha rider Gordy Knight and F.G. LeBlanc riding a sharp-looking Aprilia in my favorite color. Now this could have been a 50-minute trip straight up Highway 61, but Rick had a surprise or two for us. Shortly after we crossed over Thompson Creek, Rick turned right onto Folks Road, leaving the main highway for nearly an hour and a half of some of the finest back roads riding in the area. Our route took us through the bluffs on Thompson Creek, then east on LA 10 before heading north on Highway 421, which ultimately returned us to US 61. From there, it was just a few miles north to the South of the Border restaurant. Believe me, by now my stomach was rumbling almost as loud as my Vance and Hines. Rick had called ahead, and within a few minutes, we were taking in massive quantities of homemade onion rings, fried chicken, and some of the biggest, juiciest hamburgers I had ever seen.
How was onion rings?
Onion rings. Oh my gosh, these will make heaven right there.
Oh yeah, there's a dessert tray too. I just had to try the bread pudding with rum sauce. According to manager Helen Ashley, the South of the Border Restaurant and Lounge has been somewhat of a landmark here in West Feliciana Parish since the days of the Kingfish. At one time, it was the last stop of sorts for thirsty Louisiana travelers heading into dry Mississippi, or Mississippi residents looking for some place to quench their own thirst. There were dance bands and even gambling.
Back in the 40s, it was more or less a roadhouse. They had gambling, they had, they had poker machines, they had card games, they had it all, yes.
Those days, of course, are gone. Today, it's a good food that keeps them coming back to south of the border.
We're open Wednesday and Thursday nights, 5 to 9. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday we're open for lunch. We open at 11 and close at 10, except for Sunday afternoon, we close at 3. After the lunch crowd gets gone, we close.
After such a great meal, I was definitely ready for a nap, but Rick Neville's favorite ride was far from over. Heading north toward Woodville, Mississippi, we found ourselves on the Pinckneyville Road, which took us west into the Tunica Hills, and ultimately a little settlement called Pond, Mississippi, with its one major landmark, the Pond Store. Now, even if you're not thirsty or hungry, you have got to stop for a while at the Pond store. They used to say that Sears had everything. Well, Sears has nothing on the Pond store. If you really need it, you can probably find it here, although it may take a little digging around. The store, by the way, is a favorite stopping place for people hiking nearby Clark Creek. Outside, there's a porch with an incredible view where you can sit and rest a while. And down the hill a little bit are rental cabins and the cutest little donkeys you'll ever see. After communing with the donkeys, it was time to head out again. Yes, believe it or not, Rick had a few more fine country two-lanes he wanted to show us. Rick says he has a lot of favorite rides, but if you're looking for great Louisiana roads, super scenery, and good food to boot, you just can't beat spending a few hours in the Felicianas.